Are you going to write French Onion Larry the story?
No.
Oh, jeez, that scared me for a second. I was like...
Just listen, Chase.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm jumping the gun.
Just listen. No French Onion Larrys.
It's finally here.
Finally here. It's here, finally.
The moment we've all been waiting for.
And what's that?
It's fucking Halloween, baby.
Oh.
We've been building up to it the whole month. Here we are, finally. One might say we sort of blew our load on the whole Halloween thing. Talked about every fucking spooky game we could possibly think of.
Chase loves Halloween, I think is what this comes down to.
I sure do, but making 5 episodes of content specifically around Halloween...
Is it really 5? Man.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this will be our 5th.
Wow.
Which will release on Halloween Day.
Wowzers.
Wowzers, that's a lot.
That is a lot.
Maybe a bit of a misstep to have made that much Halloween content, but here we are at the end of Halloween having done it.
We're just here for the Halloween heads.
Yeah, it's true. Sorry, all
the ween heads?
The ween heads. Sorry, all you
hollow heads.
Are you sorry, all you Thanksgiving hive. We've got nothing for you.
Thanksgiving hive. No, the next month we'll just only be talking about Cooking Mama games.
Well, there are enough of them to go around. That's definitely a thing we could do.
Every week, new Cooking Mama. Thanksgiving spectacular.
Do you think there's enough Cooking Mamas? How do we even play enough Cooking Mamas? We would have to get our hands on like a lot of Wiis and stuff.
I mean, we could do at least one Cooking Mama, but I'm sure there's other cooking-themed video games.
Oh, maybe we should play Cooking Mama Cookstar.
No, but the other cooking game. What's it called? It's a 4-player game. Overcooked. I don't know any other cooking games.
I think that's it.
That's all I got. Gordon Ramsay teaches profanity.
Wolfgang Puck's kitchen fucks.
I was about to say, Where's the fuck coming in there? That's all you got. Guy Fieri's Donkey Sauce, the video game. Which somehow sounds dirtier than Wolfgang Puck's kitchen fucks.
Kitchen fucks. You know what you're getting into with Wolfgang. I don't know what the fuck Guy Fieri's bringing to that video game, man.
Donkey Sauce could be anything. Anything your mind brings to it. That's an actual thing, too. You know that, right? Donkey Kong?
I do. Just in the context of video games, Donkey Kong is sort of looming in the background. The implication of him being there is quite frightening.
This dunk is sauced.
Alton Brown from downtown.
Alton Brown from downtown. Alton Brown 3-point shooting competition.
Yeah, it's a basketball game.
Barefoot Assassin Contessa.
Oh, wow. That's nice. David Chang's Pretentious Restaurant Simulator.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah. It's just Momofuku. That's it. It's live footage.
Live footage of Momofuku.
Believe it or not, it is Video Game Podtimism, the Optimist video game variety show where two best friends talk about the wonderful world of gaming. My name is Chase, and my favorite cooking show is Salt, Acid, Heat, Fat, Guns.
Where did the guns come from?
That's just because it's a video game. I should say cooking themed video game. Sorry for everyone for the confusion.
My name's David, and my favorite cooking show is the Great British Baking Thunderdome.
Oh, wow.
If you have a soggy bottom, Paul Hollywood will just slit your throat right there.
He cuts your head straight off.
Straight off.
It's either handshakes or decapitations. Sorry, bud.
Yeah, and then those fun hosts will just dance around with your skull and just be really spooky with it.
Be spooky and kind of charming at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. In a very British way. Think Shaun of the Dead, but for realsies.
But for real. This is real stuff. Dave, have you been playing video games recently?
Nothing as fun as those games we just said.
Yeah, that's fair.
Honestly.
Yeah.
No, I've still been playing Divinity.
Sure.
Divinity 1. Once again, stuck at an annoying puzzle.
Great.
got past the other one last week, but once again, here
You've
we
hit
are.
another
6 hours in and another snag. So it's once again on notice. On notice.
For the second week in a row. That's kind of a lot.
I just don't like dealing with poorly explained puzzles.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't got time for this. I'm a busy man. Don't make me waste my time with some bad puzzling in a game.
What's the issue with it? Is it just that like you don't know what to do, or like the consequences are unclear, or like what's
I know
up
what
there?
I know what to do,
Okay.
but it involves a lot of tedious interface with the controls and a lot of just trial and error.
Yeah.
Just trial and error.
Would it be better if you had like a mouse and keyboard, or is this just an issue with like the level?
I mean, it might be a little bit more streamlined if I had a mouse and keyboard, but I'd still have to just do trial and error to find out what works and what doesn't.
Sure.
For each thing. For like 4 different parts of it, and they all work a little differently. It's just annoying. It's just not fun.
It's very weird to me that puzzles are like, it's a big part of games very often.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of the time it's rare for a puzzle to be like, ooh, that was really fun, or like very tantalizing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I my experience is usually it's either very frustrating or so dumb simple that you're like, well, like what's the puzzle here? I'm just gonna go do the thing.
It's really hard to find that sweet spot.
Yeah.
Between just like, this is dumb, how am I ever supposed to know this? And like, oh, this is the easiest thing I've ever done in my life. This is like 2 + 2. Not
to mention, I feel like a lot of the time puzzles just rely on you having like the literacy in video games already. Like, oh, okay, that wood looks kind of burnable. Like, I know I have a fire thing. I should probably go try and use that or whatever.
Right. Just like looking for things that are a different color than the other versions of themselves in the environment. Like, oh, that's going to be interactable or destroyable. You
come to a fork in the road and left is clearly the way the like mission wants you to go. You know, you got to go right, see what's going on down there.
Exactly. There's some secrets down that way for sure. It drives my girlfriend crazy when I play video games like that and she's watching. She's just like, no, you're supposed to go the other way.
How would you ever have the context for that? And it's like definitely not a thing that's ever told or like explained. Just over years and years of finding that like the mission marker usually leads you to not the cool surprise that is on the other end.
I gotta find all the secrets. I'm a secret chaser.
Fair enough, yeah.
So yeah, been doing that. It's still fun when I'm not dealing with an annoying puzzle.
Sure.
So it's not lost yet. It's
not everything is on notice.
Exactly. Yeah. Once again, went through 9 rounds, 9 victories. Mystery Heroes of Overwatch.
Sure.
Got to get that stone Brigitte skin.
Oh God, do I need to do this?
Brigitte's already done.
Fuck.
You missed it. It was a pretty good one, actually.
Dang it.
It's a pretty cool one. She's all stone.
I'm gonna take a peek at this.
I said that, and then Chase looks away bashfully at his computer to type it in and find it, knowing full well he's going to be upset that he didn't get it.
Oh, man.
Pretty good, right?
It's pretty good. She looks like a terracotta soldier almost.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So played that.
Yep.
And then I played some Cuphead again.
Oh, hey, what's up?
I'm once again a Cuphead head.
Yeah.
Good game. Really enjoy it. Those kind of really difficult games are fun to play when I'm understimulated for some reason.
That makes sense.
Like Overwatch is good after a long day of work. Cuphead is good on like a Saturday morning when I just want to be have all of my faculties tested.
Yeah, you've got like a cup of coffee in hand. Your body's ready.
My body is ready to be punished. So
the implication there is really, really rough.
Quote me on that one.
Yeah, sure. My body is ready to be punished. David Benavides.
That's actually what Reggie whispered underneath his voice after he said his famous line.
My body is ready to be punished.
Oh God, Reggie gets up to some crazy stuff in the bedroom.
You know,
for sure.
I don't want to yuck his yum.
Hey, I'm not yucking anything.
I didn't think you were. I just want to state clearly, Reggie. I respect your bedroom choices.
Yeah, there you go. Your yum is your yum.
Great. So you've been playing video
set
games.
The record straight. I think that's everything I've been playing. I think that's it.
Cool.
Let me hear about the newest indie video game that you're going to rave about this week, Chase.
It's not the one I'm playing this week is definitely the least indie game I've ever played.
Oh, okay. Ever?
I mean, I've played it before, but I think it's potentially one of the least indie games, other than like Madden, I guess. We'll get there.
Yeah,
we'll get
right.
there.
Madden,
But first,
Call of Duty.
I would love to have a sing along. Ready?
I'm still ready.
Just do what your heart tells you.
Okay.
Hey, hey, hey. Beat games every day. David, this week I've beaten 3 video games.
What? I thought we were doing a call and response.
No, but that's fine. I was trying to lead you into a trap where you would say smoke weed every day, but actually I was going to say beat games every day.
It sounded very like soulful to me, so I thought we were doing a call and response thing.
Sure. Yeah, that's okay. We can have that too.
I see what you're going for. Can we try it again?
Sure. Hey, smoke weed every day. Beat games every day. Well, see, now the trap doesn't feel good because you know about it. I was going to call you like a stoner and like why are you smoking all that weed? But
I want to jump in this trap. Let me jump in the trap with you.
Okay, here, let's try it again. Dude, what a bong ripper you are. What a weed head you this guy. Gotcha. I'm putting you on blast for all of our audience who are known anti-marijuana folks.
Because that's just what I do when I get home. I just take a big old fatty bongo.
Just a huge bongo, right? Right when you get home.
A bongo right to the dome.
Bongo right to the dongo. That's what they say. That's what they say.
A bongo to the dongo?
This show
bongo
is
to dongo?
only... This show is just the highest of quality entertainment, I will say.
Oh, the funny thing is that the Dongo Bongo sounds like something that Nintendo would have in a game.
Sure. Well,
because they have the Dongos, don't they?
Yeah, I think King Dodongo is like a boss in Ocarina.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the boss in the Fire Temple. So King Babongo could be who you are right when you get home. Okay. Here are these tracks. Let's put our train back on them.
Babongo.
Okay, so I beat Ikenfell.
Oh, nice. You beat that evil witch?
Yep.
Evil witch?
We fought her. She came back to kind of the good side, and we righted all the wrongs.
In cold blood. Oh, cool. Oh, okay. That's better, probably.
That's probably better. Mm-hmm. Very good game. Very into it.
Nice.
The epilogue was quite lengthy. I'm sure just there was a lot of things to wrap up story-wise, but it was still pretty enjoyable.
Red Dead 2 levels of lengthy?
Definitely not. Definitely didn't have to build a house out of magic. That was not a thing. Nothing can ever be as long as that.
Top 5 gaming moment. Building the house to that campy song. It's so ridiculous.
That was a pro gamer move.
That was a real pro gamer move, man.
Ikenfell is very good. I really liked this game. I really appreciate the length of it. It was like just about 20 hours. It never left me feeling bored or like any of it was filler. It all felt fairly necessary and pretty fun. It was really only right towards the very end where it's like you're kind of topping out as far as stats. You've gotten all your spells that you can possibly get, and you're like fighting the end game folks. You're like, okay, I'm ready for it to end. And then right when you feel that, it does. And it's like, hey, here's the last boss. Get to it. Mm-hmm. So really, really, really appreciate the length because I feel like RPGs really fall into that trap very often of being way too long, like 100-hour RPG sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I very much liked that it wasn't too lengthy. So yeah, love that game.
That's good. Nice.
I also beat Wasteland 3, the CRPG I was playing.
Okay, nice.
Also pretty good. I enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. I think like a lot of RPGs, it's sort of the ending of the game comes down to a lot of the decisions that you made sort of towards the end. Mm-hmm. A lot of the bigger decisions that you make kind of come towards, you know, the latter third of the game, which I think is fine. But yeah, it was interesting, pretty enjoyable. I like definitely enjoy all the like the heavy RPG aspects of that game, like all your stats being very important to like dialogue and getting into certain places, and like you certainly aren't forced down any specific road as far as like how to approach situations. So that's always really great.
Sure.
Like I think I maxed out lock picking very early in the game, and that like just paid off over and over and over again.
It's always a good skill to have.
Always a good skill. So yeah, I think I enjoyed that pretty heartily. So I like that game as well.
Nice.
I tried, this is sort of a side note, but I had tried playing Pillars of Eternity, the other CRPG, through the like Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah.
I think you're supposed to do some manual saving because I booted it back up. Save is gone. Would have to start over from the beginning. I was like, oh yikes. Yes. Man. That is painful.
Oh Oh God, the evil specter of gaming that still has not been vanquished after all these years. I didn't save my game and I lost everything.
Everything. And I have to go through and play like the beginning again, the tutorial.
I see so many memes online about people not trusting autosave.
Yeah, no, me too. I usually don't, but I just thought like there's no way that this game isn't autosaving, but
they got you. They never assume. Never assume.
Yeah, here I was assuming.
The only thing to assume is the worst, Chase.
Yeah, should have saved.
Damn, that's brutal.
I don't know if I'm going to get back in there. We'll see.
It's fair. Just lost the will to play the game because you lost your save. How many hours?
Not a ton. I think I probably played for like 2.5 hours. So like just long enough that would probably be my evening would just be playing something
back to square one.
Yeah, playing something I've already played, which is like, God, do I really want to do that tonight? And every night that I ask myself that question, I'm like, no, nope. I don't want to do that.
Definitely not.
So
just slaved over a keyboard for Jeff all day. I need some chase time.
So there's that. And then I also beat Resident Evil 7.
Solid.
Not a particularly long game, which is probably a good thing. Mm-hmm. All that said, David, I got to figure out a way to talk about this game in a podtimistic way because I don't think I liked it very much.
Resident Evil 7?
Yeah, I don't think I liked this video game all that much.
Why?
It never really achieved what I wanted it to. Like, I felt defining emotion that I had while playing the game was usually frustration over just like why are these things the way they are? I don't really know what I need to do in like approaching enemies. There's only really one enemy type that aren't bosses. Those ones are pretty dead simple, but like the boss enemies are usually like what am I even supposed to be doing here? And you can figure that out, but it's mostly through trial and error. When the boss fights kind of take a while, it is kind of frustrating to be like, okay, well, guess I'm going to go back to my last save that I did.
Yeah. Nothing makes a game lose its spook factor more than just playing the same section over and over again, you know?
Yeah, and like I guess there's something to be said for that because like it allows you to get through the game without being just like terrified, but I felt like most of the time I was just like, oh, come on, like what am I supposed to be doing here?
Yeah.
Probably like halfway through the game, you switch characters from playing Ethan to playing someone else. I guess I shouldn't spoil who it is if you haven't played it, but yeah, you kind of switch over at that point, and for probably an hour or two, I liked it a lot. You're essentially on like a ship, like a cruise, not a cruise ship, but like a cargo ship.
Okay.
And you're supposed to, it's pretty standard Resident Evil where there's like 4 floors and, there's something on the bottom that you have to get to, but you don't have the key for it. And then to get the key, you have to go, put in some spark plug or something like that into some other thing. Like,
God, it's so Resident Evil.
Yeah, it is. And I don't hate that at all. I think I kind of like the process of figuring out like, okay, what do I need? And then like working back from that.
You deal with a utility box to get a key to get to somewhere.
Exactly, yeah.
It's usually how it goes.
I think, unfortunately enough, it kind of triggers the work part of my brain where I'm like, I'm accomplishing something.
I guess I'm an electrician today.
Yeah, exactly. So it is kind of satisfying in that way. And that part of it was cool to me. But I think all in all, it's like that was a pretty small portion of an already fairly small game. Like, that part of it is over pretty quickly, and then you run through a handful more hallways with some other dudes that you have to fight, and then it's like the final boss very quickly.
Oh, wow.
And so it's not particularly long, or at least it didn't feel that way. I think I got it done in like 6 or 7 hours total. And so like I don't know, I feel conflicted over like trying to, I'm not trying to bash this game. It's not very podtimistic to just like hate on something, but I think it didn't deliver for me on it being incredibly scary for a long time because it was more just like frustrating, and it didn't deliver on like giving me a lot of like Resident Evil content in the way that I would expect it to be. Like Resident Evil 2 delivered pretty hard for me, that like remake of the other one. And Resident Evil 3, albeit a lot shorter, was still a very similar concept, and so it delivered in that way as well. So this one just kind of didn't get there for me.
What's Resident Evil content to you?
I think, like I was saying, if there's a couple of things. There's the traditional like unpacking of a puzzle of I have X item or I need to go find this thing. I have this key, and I sort of have this like maze structure that I'm wandering through, all while some spooky stuff is going on, and I'm probably underpowered a little bit, right? Like you can't kill Nemesis, or you can't kill Mr. X, or like sometimes you'll run into enemies that are like, I have no ammo and I need to get away from these people.
Okay.
But oftentimes in 7, it's like it would either corner you very quickly, and so you're just getting bashed by people, or maybe you do have the ammo, but it's, you get kind of like stuck in a spot, and you try and clip through one of the enemies, and it doesn't really work like it usually does. So like I don't know, it's just not super satisfying in the way that like in the other Resident Evils, it's clear the threat that people present, but usually when you get caught, it's your fault for either like getting too close, or not running fast enough, or trying to like, if I can just get these last couple items, then you can get out. Usually in Resident Evil 7, it's like, I don't know, there's just too many, and I should have approached it differently, but like, how would I have known that without getting killed right now?
Yeah. Seems a little bit more, I guess, opaque and cheap in a way.
I think so, yeah. The fail state and success state are not very obvious, whereas in the other ones, it's like, zombies coming, get the zombie.
Gotcha.
But that's not always the case here. I think the other thing that's Resident Evil-y, if I'm thinking about like maybe 4 or something like that, is like a pretty sizable game with independent areas that are all very interesting to me. And there was a little bit of that in this one, but it wasn't that much. It wasn't super significant in the way that like, you cross over in Resident Evil, and it's like first start in a very like spooky village, and then you go into like that castle, and then there's kind of the ending area that's like pretty high tech, and all that sort of stuff. And like each of those are very independent and like last a while, right? Like you really get to kind of sink in there and steep and all that sort of stuff. So it didn't really get there for me on a lot of those. I will say the story's pretty interesting. Like I didn't hate that. There's kind of a reveal towards the end of the game that I was like, oh, that's cool. It's an interesting take on it. They reveal stuff that you probably could have pieced together already, but like you kind of had a little bit of evidence here and there, and you're like, oh, that's pretty neat. If I'm trying to like maybe say some good stuff about it and not just bash it, I think the concept is pretty fun.
The story is good.
Yeah.
Or the concept, yeah. A little different than the story, concept.
So, yeah, I feel like usually in Podtimism world, we don't express super negative stuff, and I'm trying not to, but I also do want to be like real that I didn't love playing this. I kept expecting it to be pretty good, and it just kind of never got there.
It got really good reviews.
Yeah, and I don't know if that was just like the timing, or if people maybe enjoyed stuff that I didn't. But, I think kind of after, maybe the hype wore off or something like that. I don't know. I guess that's also suggesting that the reviewers were influenced by hype, which I don't think a lot of them are.
Depends.
Some maybe, but I feel like across the board it was pretty well reviewed. But still, I just came away from it like I don't know if I liked that all that much.
I think really what this means is that you have to play it again, but in VR.
This is a thing I will not be doing. I will die if I do this. I will be.
What if I'm there to hold your hand?
No, because then some fuckery is gonna happen.
You're right. You can't trust me.
No,
I'm not trustworthy in that situation.
You will want to pull a good prank on me.
I love mischief too much.
Fair enough. And then the final game that I'm playing is the least indie game of all time. It's Skyrim, David. I'm back in there.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
I saw that.
Skyrim is comfort food for me.
Yeah.
Whenever I don't really know what to play, or there's like maybe a lull, or especially when it's fall. I don't know why, but Skyrim is just like the leaves start falling off the trees, and I'm like, yeah. I just gotta get up in there, bro.
I get it, because it's kind of like a cozy game, because it's in the north, right? It's cold.
Yeah, I think so. For whatever reason, it being cold outside makes me want to immediately go inside and learn some new shouts for whatever reason.
You gotta learn how to shout. Get spooked out by a dragon that looks like it's part of Bleak Falls Barrow.
That's literally just what I did. Not very far into it.
Classic part of the game.
What is there to say about this game? It's fantastic. It's very old. I'm playing it on PC for the first time. I've usually played it on consoles. By and large the same game, but did a couple of mods to like make it a little bit easier on myself. Did a new map and like some better UI and shit like that.
Nice. Also,
the load times on PC are just so easy.
Nice.
Like you walk in and out of a door and it's like, open the door, loading screen 1, 2, and you're out. Like, it's just very, very quick.
That's solid.
Sometimes those Skyrim loading times can be pretty brutal. So,
oh my god, yeah, I remember.
So it's a fucking great game. Everybody knows what Skyrim is.
That's
by
a
this
good
point.
one. How's your archer mage coming?
You know, it happens every time. I want to make a barbarian. I want to make somebody who's just all up in the shit, and I never do. I pick up my first bow, and I'm like, I'm just going to sneak and hit one Draugr, and then they immediately go down, and I'm like, okay, fine, Skyrim.
You got me. You got me.
I feel like you also develop skills a lot quicker when you're doing the kind of sneaky rogue thing, because you're leveling sneak, lockpicking, pickpocketing, archery, and sometimes speech all very quickly. And so you like get levels so fast versus like with two-handed like weapons. It's like you got two-handed weapons, maybe heavy armor if you're getting hit real good. Yep. And like, what else? That's it.
Nothing.
Takes a long time to level up. So
you got nothing.
Yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, it's fucking great. The game is great.
What race are you?
I'm playing an Argonian. Never played an Argonian before. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to play trying to be the lusty Argonian.
Ooh. I'll meet you at the Wink and Skeever. Do they breathe underwater? Is that what they do?
That might be the case because I didn't see a breath meter when I went underwater.
That's fun.
The main thing that I was looking for is resistance to poison. I've also never played one, so I was like, all right, I'm going to do that.
Why'd you want resistance to poison?
I feel like I just got poisoned a lot in the first like part of the game with all the spiders and shit.
That's true.
I also almost always land on some kind of elf, and so I was just like, I should play somebody else.
Yeah, be something different.
So yeah, it's great. It's a great game. But this will all bring me to the Podtimistic thing of the week, David.
All right, let's hear it.
It is the Among Us stream that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez did.
AOC, yeah.
Last week. This was such a treat. All of our many conservative listeners, y'all can get the fuck off the boat. But we're going to reveal ourselves as the lib heads. We truly are.
Well, speak for yourself, Chase.
Yeah, it's true. I know you've got such a strong conservative and libertarian bias, David.
You know me. I love freedom. Chase Albee.
Guns, I guess.
I don't know who you think you are.
So, this stream was just so goddamn pure and good. When I was watching it, I was like, I don't totally know, like, when the last time somebody this, like, sort of in charge and in power was so relevant to shit that I do on the regular. Like, people that I know, or not that I know, but, like, people that are, you know, literally in U.S. Congress are, like, just fucking around and playing video games and shit like that.
Right.
It was sort of a reminiscent of when she had hopped on like a stream of HM Bomber Guy's DK64 run that he had done when he was like raising money for trans rights and shit like that. Whoa. And like she just came and popped in and was like, hey, love the shit you're doing. He's like, what the fuck is this? Like, what are you doing here? It was just like shocked.
That would be so weird.
Oh my God, dude. Can you even imagine?
A congresswoman is watching me. I need to like put on a suit or something.
Seriously. But yeah, it was pretty incredible. I know that Ilhan Omar did it as well, which is really great. She also has a beefy fucking PC. I don't know if you saw that.
I saw that pic.
Holy shit.
She's got a beefcake.
Oh my
beefcake
God.
PC.
That thing was huge.
She's not messing around, man.
I was not expecting that. But yeah, that was great. Plus, like, there was, HM Bomber Guy was in there. I think Pokimane was also in there. And what's his name? Fucking Husband Corpse or whatever that guy is. The deepest voice on the planet, man.
Okay.
But yeah, it was pretty incredible insight into politicians being real people. Just because, like, I am very familiar with video games, how people play video games, what happens when you play video games, and like just seeing them all interact in like a way that I'm very familiar with was very humanizing.
Yeah, it's like the most strangely humanizing thing a politician could do for someone like me.
Yeah,
like how a boomer feels about a politician eating a hot dog.
Yeah, exactly. I would love to play a game of Among Us with them.
I'd love to eat a hot dog and a beer with him. I'd love to play a round of Among Us with her. Yeah, exactly that.
You want to slap down, give me a couple rounds of Mario Party?
You don't want to play Mario Party with a politician.
That's probably true.
That's asking for trouble.
Yep. But I had such a good time watching it, and it's fucking great. I loved it.
That's sweet. That's a good one.
Do you have something fueling your sense of podtimism this week, David?
I do. It's somewhat similar.
Okay.
It is, I guess, the gamer community in a way is what I'm podtimistic for. In particular, individuals who go onto forums and explain puzzles.
Okay.
So this guy, he goes on Lou Chris, Steam name Lou Chris,
Sure.
goes on. He's asking about this puzzle I was having trouble with on the Steam forums.
Yep.
And he goes through and people are like trying to help him and shit. And he's like really asking a lot of good questions, and like getting things like really clear. And then at the very end, he figures it out and that's it. And then he comes back 50 minutes later to comment saying, in case someone else is stuck at the same point and finds this post, here's what I did.
Heroic
and
move.
It worked.
Heroic move.
What a bro move. Comes back 50 minutes later to comment, this is what I did. This is what works. They don't make them like they used to. That's for damn sure.
Yeah,
Lou Chris. What a champ.
What a champion. That's true.
What a champ. So thankful for that.
It is very odd. Like, games culture has both like just the dregs of humanity and also like sometimes really fucking comes through with people who are like, oh yeah, that puzzle sucks, like let me help this person out. And like looking after everybody and making sure like they know what they're doing. And yeah, I don't know, it's weird. It's the little micro communities are very interesting.
Exactly. He was the real homie.
Yep.
He's a real one.
Hell yeah. Shouts out Lou
Chris. What a man.
Okay, do you want to move on to our main thing, David?
Let's get Maine.
So, it's the final day of Spooky Month. Here we are.
Sure is.
There's something that we've been wanting to do for a little while now.
Yeah, it was probably our original idea for a podcast way back.
Yeah.
In the way back times when Barack Obama was still president.
That is true, actually. There's another podcast called Fantasy Fiction, which was a great influence on both David and I.
Good pod.
They would come up with fantasy stories and read about it. Go listen to it. It's very good. And we thought, what better way to really sink into some deep gaming culture than to write fan fiction of our own about video games characters.
Welcome to our fan fiction podcast, everybody.
Oh, yeah, baby. It's both making fun of and enjoying fan fiction at the same time. So we have defined a couple of parameters. One, the theme in respect of Halloween. It had to be spooky. So we've landed on local witches for the theme. And then we chose some characters out of a hat. David landed on Ingo from Ocarina of Time. The brother.
You know Ingo. Everybody knows Ingo.
Everybody knows Ingo. He's the mean-looking brother at Lon Lon Ranch.
Yeah, the Luigi brother at Lon Lon Ranch.
Yep.
Mean Luigi brother.
And I have landed on Slippy the Toad of Star Fox.
Yeah.
So
really scraping the bottom of the barrel at the very first.
It's games culture, man. The fan fiction needs to find like one tiny little point and just expand on the backstory. So here we are.
It's true. We're in it.
We've both written stories that we are now going to read for your pleasure. So yeah, with that, would you feel comfortable going first?
I can go first.
Sweet. M's on a call with city council, and I want to really be able to let loose. And so I figure by the time you're finished, she will be done, and so we can really cut one off, cut it loose. a little bit.
So you can't be loud right now? Is that what you're saying?
I can't be shouting loud, which there may or may not be.
Wait, she's on the phone with the city council?
Yeah, she's like doing some kind of presentation. I'm not sure what.
So she's doing big shit out
She's
there.
doing well. I mean, we're both doing big things. She's planning the future of our city's transportation, and we're recording fan fiction about gamers, bro.
She's making policy, and you're in your little gamer den.
Recording a podcast about fan fiction about Slippy the Toad.
You're right. These things are equivalent.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
Quote me on that? I don't know about all that. Okay, cool. Could you go first, my friend?
I could. So, the name of my story is Ingo and the Onions.
Okay. Are you going to write French Onion Larry, the story?
No.
Oh, jeez, that scared me for a second. I was like, you're gonna come up with like the universe tie-in that I was not expecting.
Just listen, Chase.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm jumping the gun.
Just listen.
Yeah.
Anyways, no French Onion Larrys. Okay. The castle walls loomed in the distance, slowly inching closer as the cart rolled languidly along.
This is already so much better than the shit that I wrote down, David.
The low rhythm of drums dancing through the air, bright, many-colored flags and banners. The smell of baking sweets drifting on the breeze, and a steadily growing stream of revelers making their way toward the drawbridge could mean only one thing. The local witches of Hyrule had returned for their yearly festival.
Damn.
Every year at harvest time, the chapter of local Hylian witches would hold a grand festival for the townsfolk to indulge in food, drink, and merriment. And yes, since it was put on by witches, it was totally spooky. Think skeletons and bats flying around, cobwebs and fangs.
Okay, hold on, Jesus. Give me a second. It's very spooky.
Are you there? Are you spooked?
I was in where you were describing, and then you just bombarded me with all these spooky images.
I'm just going.
I can't handle it.
This is the machine gun of spooks.
Okay, all right. I'm collected.
It was renowned far across the land as one of the most important and festive times of the year. But it did come with a warning to revelers to watch their young closely, lest they wander off and forever be changed. Of course, that was all superstition. Nobody had ever reported anything bad coming from the festival, except an upset stomach or headache from too much merrymaking. It was a joyous time.
That's a hangover, kids. Y'all talking about a milk hangover.
That's a hangover. It was a joyous time, and Ingo was beside himself with excitement. Ingo looked to his older brother, as he often would, as they crossed the sturdy bridge into town. This was his favorite time of year, and today was even more special, as their father had agreed to let them explore the festival to their heart's content, so long as they stayed together, handed out all their flyers, and Ingo did whatever Talon told him to. The boys had spent the past month excitedly planning and arguing about what they would be doing, what stands they must go to and when, what performances to attend, how much money they needed to bring. Quick aside, that is very much like attending Comic-Con. Everything was planned perfectly. Nothing could possibly go wrong, so long as they stuck to the plan. The festival erupted in front of the two young boys once they entered the castle proper, in a euphoric explosion of sound, color, and exuberance. Skeletons danced around them as they entered, and at least 3 bats flew past them.
Jesus. Wait, actual skeletons?
Yeah, actual skeletons.
Damn, this is a fucking spooky festival.
These are local witches.
God damn.
There was also a real live witch stirring a cauldron, with a big bulbous nose and long stringy hair. It was some really spooky, scary stuff, and Ingo was all about it. They hurriedly exited the cart and quickly helped their father set up their stand. They were dairy farmers, after all, and a festival like this was a perfect opportunity to make enough money for a new horse stable. Ingo always loved horses, and dreamed of one day leaving the farm and becoming a famous horse racer. The feel of the wind in his hair, and a strong body underneath him.
Okay, Ingo. Wow. Cut the fucking sexual tension in here.
It's some real stuff.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Are they young here?
Yeah, they're little kids.
Okay, all right.
This is Ingo Origins.
Does Ingo still have a mustache as a child?
He's got peach fuzz.
Okay, sure.
It's a little wispy.
Yeah.
But that was a dream for another day. Today, all he wanted to do was hand out his flyers as quickly as possible so that he could begin his foolproof plan. All right, boys, remember to stick together and watch out for each other. Once you hand out them flyers, enjoy the festival to your heart's content. Okay, Dad, you can trust us, or you can at least trust me. Talon gave Ingo a sideways look and a knowing smirk. Ingo was never known for making good decisions. That was what Talon was good at. Ingo was still waiting to find out what he was good at. He hoped it was horse racing, but without a proper riding horse, he could never know for sure.
Ingo ain't good at shit. Fuck.
Ingo sucks. Ingo looked down at the flyers in his hand. If he could hand these to the right people and get Dad some more business, maybe they could finally have enough money for a stable. His plan would have to wait for now. He needed to get these flyers to the right people first. He began to scan the crowd for large groups of well-dressed folks. And after making several rounds through the labyrinthine festival, clawing through cobwebs and dodging dancing skeletons, he finally found what he was looking for. A group of exceptionally well-dressed yet spooky people standing around a man stirring a large cauldron.
Oh, God.
The cauldron was black as night and was thrice the size of young Ingo.
David, this is nothing but trouble. I don't know about all this.
And bubbled and cracked with every stir. The smell emanating from the cauldron, a deeply sweet yet also rich beefy flavor, was absolutely divine.
I swear to God, if this is fucking French onion soup.
The man at the cauldron ladled a large helping of its contents into a bowl, and then topped it with a piece of bread and cheese that he then lit on fire.
I fucking knew it. It's French onion soup.
No, Chase, it's fresh onion soup. Get your fresh onion soup here. Fresh Onion Larry has the best fresh onion soup in all of Hyrule. Don't miss it. There's no France in Hyrule, Chase, please.
Fresh onion soup. It's very important.
Very fresh. Ingo inched forward toward the soup and reached out for a cup of the divine contents. The man generously poured him some. Here you go, son. The finest fresh onion soup in the land. Ingo took one bite, and that was all he needed. This was what he had been missing his whole life. This was the singularly most delicious substance he had ever tasted.
True fact.
Cheesy, crunchy, sweet, beefy. It was the perfect food, and Ingo knew this was his way out. He spent the rest of the day watching Fresh Onion Larry, learning his technique, watching how he cut the onions, sneaking individual bites of the cheese and bread he used, learning how long he stewed and stirred his brew. To Ingo's amazement, none of the ingredients were particularly extraordinary on their own, but together, combined, created a dish like none other. At the price the soup was being sold for, he was making much more than Ingo and his family could by selling milk. Fresh Onion Larry, ever vigilant, of course noticed his young interloper, but was undeterred, for he knew that young Ingo would never be ever able to replicate his recipe. Not now, not ever.
Damn, Fresh Onion Larry.
Ingo returned to his father and told him of what he saw. The delicious soup with simple ingredients they could grow on the farm. He implored his father to consider becoming a fresh onion soup maker like Larry, but he vehemently refused. Milking is all I know, and it's all you're gonna know also, young Ingo. You best start realizing that now. We're milking men, and that's your destiny.
Jesus
now,
Christ.
No more of this fresh onion Harry nonsense. I got customers waiting.
Milking men is pretty rough. I don't know if I like milking men at all.
It's good stuff. Ingo didn't care. He found his way out, and he was determined to make it work. He went back to Fresh Onion Larry. Sir, your soup is the most delicious I have ever tasted. Could you please teach me how to cook it? I would love to become your apprentice. Fresh Onion Larry cocked an eyebrow at the young boy and looked at him with sad and weary eyes. Eyes that had only known pain for many years.
Oh my God.
And knew that they were only destined for more pain yet to come. Aye, lad, it's me lunch break now. Come into the back with me and I will get this sorted out. Ingo and Fresh Onion Larry went into his tent, and as the flaps closed behind him, Ingo was shocked at what he saw. All across the tent were onions, hanging from the ceiling, piled on the ground, cut ends and waste baskets, all of them shaped like heads.
Oh, God.
Ingo sat down, but could not deny the sense of unease. Okay, lad. The only way to be able to make fresh onion soup like yours truly is to first taste of the raw onion. But be forewarned, there is no turning back once you taste it. You will be firmly on the path to making the best fresh onion soup you've ever made, and there will be nothing you can do to stop it. A breeze blew through the tent, causing the candles to flicker as bits of loose onion peel rustled across the ground. Fresh Onion Larry was staring intently at Ingo, but he found it hard to maintain eye contact. He looked away, but found that all the onion heads in the tent, no matter where he looked, were looking right at him.
Oh my God, onion heads. Jesus. This is fan fiction for video game podtimism is what's happening here.
You got me.
I got you. And you got me.
I got you. Their eyes were wide and mouths agape, as if trying to tell him something. Well, sir, to be honest, I tried some of the raw onion already. I snuck some while you were cooking. It was just so good. I hope you don't mind. Fresh Onion Larry leaned back in his chair, never taking his eyes off Ingo. So that's it, then. I guess it can't be helped. In that case, wait here. I need to grab something. Fresh Onion Larry rustled through a drawer and pulled out a long chef's knife. Another breeze went through the tent that shook the onion heads. As they danced, hanging on their strings, Fresh Onion Larry began to sharpen his knife. He took a fresh onion and began to carve. Ingo sat there, confused and at a loss of what to do, as the large man sent onion shards flying through the room. The smell of freshly cut onion filled the tent, and Ingo's eyes began to water. The sting from the acrid smell burned his nose, and he could feel tears running down his face. He went flush and began to burn as the onion smell began to overpower and envelop him. His stomach began to cramp, and his extremities felt as though electricity was coursing through them. Crunch, crunch, crunch. The sound filled his ears as he fell from his chair, pain coursing through his body as he writhed in the dirt. But despite his pain, no sound was able to leave his lips. Fresh Onion Larry remained in front of him, carving furiously into the onion, tears streaming down his face as he kept his gaze locked on Ingo. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Again, this time louder and stronger than before. Crunch. One last sound, and then the pain was gone. Ingo felt as though he was flying. It felt so good to no longer have that horrid pain. When he opened his eyes, he saw himself, sitting in the chair where he had just been, talking to Fresh Onion Larry. Aye, lad, and now you know why you can never make fresh onion soup. Ingo watched as he himself nodded to Larry, accepting that he could never be the soup maker he wanted to be.
Wow.
Now, run back to your da, and remember to work hard for him. Be a good son, and do what you can on the farm, and maybe one day things will work out for you. Ingo nodded and left the tent, and yet Ingo remained.
God damn. What a fucking mic drop. Jesus.
That's it. That's the end.
I should have turned the lights off, man. I was spooked solid.
Did I spook you?
Oh, man.
Did you get it? Did you get what happened at the end?
What, that like his soul could never leave the tent?
He got turned into an onion.
What?
That's why he was looking at himself.
Oh,
Fresh Onion Larry made a little onion doppelganger and then took him.
Wow.
And disguised him as an onion.
And so the onion doppelgangers who's in Ocarina of Time, David?
Yeah. And that's why he's such a hard worker on the farm, because he tells him, go help your dad.
Wow.
There's also a Fresh Onion Larry backstory in here somewhere, because he takes no pleasure in this.
No, he's been cursed to do this job forever.
The local witches got him.
Some sort of onion lich. Wow.
And all the other onion heads are other children that he's stolen. Essentially.
Yeah. No, I got that. I thought in the beginning, I was like, is that the implication? I was like, surely not. And then,
I mean, I guess he essentially did get his soul taken and put into an onion that is shaped like his head now. And then his body left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I have a little piece of trash to read you after that incredible story.
Yours is great too. I already know.
It's going to be fine, but call George R. R. Martin. We got a writer in our midst, my friend.
No.
I listened to stoner metal and wrote 3,000 words.
Did you really?
I did. There's a lot of good music that really fueled this one. The title of my story is Slippy the Toad, the most attractive frog in the universe.
Wow. All right, really setting the tone.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Is this going to be like erotic fan fiction? Is that what's going to happen?
David, most gaming fan fiction is erotic in nature.
Erotic gaming fan fiction is redundant, David.
It's just gaming
Just
fan
call it
fiction.
gaming fan fiction.
My joke, but we'll see how this goes.
All right, let's fucking do it.
Another day dawns in the Bodhikaro system. The single, dim, low light, and damn near sensual star, Ilea, sits at the center of the three-planet Bodhikaro system, a collection of outer rim worlds that is rarely visited and even more rarely spoken of. The inhabited planet is a small swampy place named Gongiri. The Fagrano are an amphibious people who live there. They long ago discovered spaceflight and space communication, but found it uninteresting and mostly ignore the influence of the outside systems. By and large, systems like Bodhikaro are left to their own devices. No war, no intrigue, just some good old-fashioned galactic privacy. However, at the moment, this privacy is being interrupted by the sight of a visitor to the system. An R-wing rips across the vast expanse of the star Ilea. Its boosters contract and the ship slows as it approaches the center of the system. Inside, a single frightened pilot sits at its helm. Slippy the Toad has nearly arrived at his destination. Slippy sighs once again and watches the hologram sent to him outlining his mission. The familiar face of Fox McCloud appears, and Slippy presses play. Hey, Slippy, a distorted Fox McCloud shouts. We got another mission for you, buddy. The telltale sounds of drinking and debauchery is hard to ignore. So it sounds like some planet out on the rim named Bongiro or Jinchachi or something sent out a distress signal about a year ago. It's pretty hard to understand what they're saying, but they said something about it being way too hot there. Not super sure what that means, but being that you're the most important member of Starfunks at the moment, and then audible giggles can be heard in the background somewhere off screen, Slippy having long ago concluded that it must have been Falco Lombardi. I need you to go check it out and report back with what you found. Over and out, my dude.
So is Fox a mean bro?
Fox is in this canon. He's just trying to party, but he does not want Slippy ruining his vibe.
He's a wet blanket.
He's a wet blanket.
Yeah.
Fox attempts to turn off the communicator, but fails to do so. Okay, it's done. That should get him off our back for a little while. Who wants shots? Message ends.
Oh.
Slippy's glove-covered hand tightens as his frog lips tighten into a frown. Patronizing son of a... And then he lets out a deep sigh. Slippy has never been the bravest member of Star Fox, but being put on tasks to run around the galaxy and investigate years-old distress signals is not what he'd prefer to do. Slippy would prefer being at home, safe under his blankets and away from the dangers of the universe. A lonely existence, albeit, but the pot-bellied frog would much prefer it to being sent out on a dangerous mission to the middle of nowhere to find God knows what. Slippy closes his eyes for a moment, sighs, and begins to make his approach on the the planet Gongiri. As he does, the shape of the planet comes into clearer focus. It appears to have once been two separate planets that collided millennia ago, but never finished the process of merging into a single entity. This appears to have caused the magnetic field around the poles to be permanently ignited by solar waves hitting them. The end result is that Gongiri to the naked eye would appear much like the sexiest thing in the universe, a butt with fire behind it.
Wow. Scientifically proven as the sexiest thing in the universe?
It's been found. That's just truth.
All right, I don't doubt it.
It's kind of sexy, Slippy whispers to no one.
Wait, is this Slippy's sexual awakening?
No. Slippy perhaps has already been sexually awakened, but unclear. Okay. That is a story for another day. Slippy attempts to guide the R-Wing lower into the planet's atmosphere and, as expected, begins to experience its gravity. However, unexpectedly, the sweet curvature of the two-orbed planet has an unexpected effect on Slippy's ship. The R-Wing is snatched into the gravitational well of Gongiri. Slippy grabs the flight stick inside his ship and tries to wrestle control back from the planet, but it is too late. The R-Wing is pulled with surprising force towards the surface of the planet, and before long the G-forces are too much and Slippy falls into a stupor, losing all control of his ship. Just before falling completely asleep, he mutters, "Fucking stupid, sexy planet." As if some kind of fever dream, Slippy falls in and out of consciousness, plummeting towards the planet's surface. There's flames. There's colors. A fucking slow and sick guitar solo happens at some point, maybe.
Hell yeah.
A wizard ripping a sweet bong falls along with him at some point. Did he play the guitar solo? Nobody knows. All Slippy knows is that the wizard was cool and he had a really fucking cool beard.
Hell yeah.
I know that too, actually. His name is Waylon, and he's a wizard.
Waylon the wizard? That's tight.
Slippy wakes with a jolt. He's still in his R-Wing and appears to have landed safely on the planet's surface. The windshield is completely covered in some kind of swampy muck. He's surprised that the cracks in the hull have not led to a depressurization, but instead appears to have let the air in from outside. He figures that because he hasn't suffocated yet, that it's breathable. But also the air hangs heavy in the cockpit, like the outside air is made up of a little bit of candle smoke and nicely scented sticks.
Whoa. All right.
Kind of sexy, Slippy whispers to no one. He's snapped into action by the sound of something tapping on his windshield. He flips on the exterior view in his cockpit and sees a few humanoid creatures crowded around the right side of the ship. One of them is holding some kind of spear that he's used to tap his ship. Without taking too much time to assess the situation, Slippy slinks out of the escape hatch on the left side of the ship. He lands as quietly as he can on the wet and soppy ground. The group on the other side of the ship seems to have not noticed him. He tries to get a better look at the group. It's difficult given the lighting on this planet. Everything seems to be cast in a dim and warm light. It appears that these may be the amphibious denizens of the planet, but before he can truly assess what they are, he is struck in the neck with the butt of a weapon. Slippy immediately crumples to the ground. He wakes on the ground, somewhere else. He can't currently see a damn thing, given the sack that's been placed on his head, but he hears the voices of people caught in some sort of deliberation. They speak the galactic common tongue. One speaks, "I don't know, he's clearly not from here, but he seems to not be a threat. Just look at him." And the group appears to murmur in agreement. Slippy frowns under the bag. Another speaks, "This may be in response to the distress signal we sent out months ago. We weren't sure if that made it anywhere, but perhaps this is finally the answers to our prayers." The speaking stops, and the group walks over to Slippy. The bag is removed from his head with haste. He peers upon his captors, clearly amphibious creatures like himself, but as he takes in their figures, his eyes widen, as do theirs. The three people in front of him all share something in common. They are so deeply hot. The first frog-like creature is standing kind of leaned back, and their deeply rippling abs can be seen through the bottom of their crop-top shirt.
Whoa.
They have one little twirly hairpiece covering a little bit of their face, their muscular arms gripping a staff on their left hand. The middle creature has one side of their head shaved with a bunch of sick-ass earrings and piercings on their ear.
Ooh.
Their stone frame towers over Slippy. They are built heavy, but clearly know how to use it. The third one has a wild look in their eyes, but that kind of cool wild. Like definitely not a threatening thing, but the kind of wild that knows how to have a good time at the expense of no one else.
Ooh.
They're wearing a band t-shirt of what Slippy can only assume is a very hip and cool band from this planet. They're also wearing a great set of sneakers and genuinely have a great sense of how to dress themselves. The first creature speaks. You are uncursed. Slippy speaks. What? The creature responds in a breathy and heavy and damn near sexy way. You are not of this planet. Everyone here is afflicted with a curse that you clearly have not been stricken with. Slippy, confused, says, "Is that why you sent the distress signal? It said something about it being way too hot here." The person flips their hair twirl out of their face momentarily and says, "Not that this planet is too hot," and then puts their hand over their head in a very cool way. "We are too hot. We've all been cursed with being far too attractive for our own good." The others too wince, which is somehow still very sexy. Like the middle one seemed to have flexed while they were frowning. Confusing, but goddamn, not gonna deny him at all. The first creature speaks again. "I am Philea. The big one is Crowley, and the wildling is Starlet. I apologize for hurting you on the way here, but we weren't sure who you were. To that end, our people are hurting. Everyone has been cursed with extreme sexiness. Our society, while not completely collapsed, has been nearly unmade. We are so deeply, distractingly attractive, it has become hard to focus on anything else.
Damn.
Everyone here is like this. Even our most traditionally unattractive citizen, Stinky Jake, has been cursed with both an incredible physical form and a pretty normal-smelling body."
Wow. Good for Jake.
Good for Jake. So, I feared the reaction the townsfolk might have to someone who looks pretty well. I don't mean to be rude, but normal. Slippy found this assessment fair. Philea spoke again.
Assessment? Fair.
Fair. Hurtful, but fair. Philea spoke again. "If they were able to just glimpse at someone normal again, there might be some kind of mass hysteria. I wanted to keep it under wraps, so again, I apologize." "Oh, none taken. To be honest, being a hot commodity is a really nice change of pace, so, maybe I could go, take a stroll around for scientific purposes?" Philea responds, "Oh no, I'm sorry, I cannot allow this to happen either. I do, however, have another idea. If you have truly been sent here to solve our problems, I must apologize again, but I have a task for you. The curse has been placed on us by a group of local witches. They live far out in the bog, but every time we send a team out there to find them, the woods seem to have been cursed as well, and it's warm out there and comfortable, and it smells nice."
I thought the woods were just going to be too sexy as well. Like some sexy-ass trees.
Any movement you make seems to be the right one. It just feels really great. Ooh. The team inevitably gets distracted with each other.
Oh.
Crowley shakes their head. Everyone's just so hot and mutually attracted to each other. Philea says, normal-looking one, I must ask you to find these witches and remove their curse. We want to go back to looking normal. We cannot go on like this. We can't get anything done. I would like to return to our normal lives. Slippy considers the question. And what if I refused and I choose to live amongst you? Starlet steps a little closer to Slippy and says, please, friend, we have no one else to turn to. It would be cruel to leave us with this curse. Slippy didn't really hear them because they had come just a little bit closer and caught the vibes all of a sudden. His heart stopped beating quite so fast after a second and said, yes, I see how this can be an issue. I've got to warn you, though, I'm not much of a warrior. Crowley speaks. We know not the variety of monster these witches are, but we know they have not shown themselves to the world. We suspect this is because they are vulnerable to physical damage, but they seem to feel confident that we would never make it to their hideout because of, well, you know. Crowley gestures to their body and flexes a little. The room gasps and sweats. Christ alive, it doesn't take much with these people. As such, simply by entering their domain, you may have already have the advantage. Starlet says, oh, we also have a fucking rad sword for you to take. What's a good witch hunt without a sword?
True
Slippy
story.
nods without really knowing what they're talking about, but takes the sword anyway. As soon as nightfall strikes, Slippy slips out of the village. Fucking cool sword in hand.
Fucking cool sword. What's that sword's name? Fucking cool sword.
It's fucking cool, man.
Cool sword.
He wanders through the bog, following a crudely drawn map given to him by Crowley. The directions appear simple enough. Through the woods, cross the boglands, and the witch's hideout should be in a clearing shaped like a very deeply attractive frog. What does that look like? I don't know, but I bet when I said that just now, you conjured some image, and now you have to live with the fact that that's what you thought of when I said the word attractive frog.
Sure do.
You nasty. Slippy passes by the remnants of other expeditions, clearly sent out on the same mission. He was, only to have fallen prey to one another. There's stray candles on the ground, aphrodisiacs strewn everywhere. Some sheets are strung up on the trees to create a kind of private bungalow. There's even tasteful boudoir photos of the expedition that Slippy averts his eyes from. There's even an imprint of the expedition's fucking ripped abs in the mud. They all took mud baths, every single one of them. It's sexy carnage.
Oh, man. That's funny.
But the saving grace is that Slippy appears to be unaffected. He walks through the bog, uninhibited by the curse. A sad realization, to be sure, but one that confirms he might just be able to pull this off. After some time, he finds himself in a clearing. Its shape? You tell me. You the one who thought it was up an attractive frog, like, damn. But there, at its center, clearly stands a tent. Modest in size, but definitely not too tiny. It's fine. The size is fine. Seems like it would get the job done, but not one of those huge tents that fits like 100 people you see on the internet. But, you know, like a 3 to 5 person tent. A modest, fine tent. It's fine. Slippy takes a breath, his heart pounding, unaware of what stands on the other side of the tent's opening. Another member of Star Fox might go charging in, but Slippy sees no glory in this. He does, however, have a reputation to uphold. Sexy planet or not, he's got to deal with this problem.
Mm-hmm.
Slippy enters the tent. It's shrouded in darkness as he steps inside. It smells very good in here and is quite comfortable, even compared to the climate outside. Slippy feels as if he could just slip off his shoes and get comfy, relax, maybe give or get a couple of neck kisses. You know the kind of vibe I'm talking about here.
Oh, yeah.
The voice laughs. No, too far.
Pause.
A soft voice presents itself. I had a feeling you might make it here, tiny frog man. What brings you to this tent? Slippy, unable to spot where the voice is coming from, responds, I'm here to ask you to curse me. The voice laughs, now in a chorus with 2 other voices. You've come here to ask for a curse. This is truly a strange day. I had presumed that the first person to enter this tent would be charging us down, cool-ass sword in hand, but no. You've come to request a curse. A question we can certainly oblige, but please let us speak face to face for such an odd question. The lights in the tent warm to the point where Slippy can see who stands in front of him. There are 3 people, 2 near the back, who do not look like anyone else on this planet, and another who seems to have been speaking before, standing right in front of him. It's yet another amphibious person, similar to those in the village and also deeply attractive. Slippy speaks. "This isn't your true form, is it?" The person chuckles and says, "No, it is not. You are correct. Allow me to introduce myself." They snap their fingers, and a plume of smoke envelops their shape. Suddenly, Slippy's nose is assaulted with a very challenging scent. He winces as the smoke clears, and out of it appears a much different-looking frog creature. It's not offensive to the eyes, but certainly not the textbook hotties that were back at the village. The person speaks. "I'm who they call Stinky Jake."
I knew it was going to be Stinky Jake. I knew it.
Gonna rear his ugly head again.
My God.
"And these local witches are who have gifted me with the power of the curse." The 2 alien folk in the back give a knowing wave. Slippy says, "Wait, Stinky Jake, the villager said you've been living among them." Stinky Jake laughs. "That's because I have been. The best place to hide is in plain sight. They never would have expected that I was the one who was keeping them cursed and slinking out to my tent to hide away every now and then. Who do you think set up all those carefully placed sexy bungalows in the bog? Who do you think went to Space Target and got all them nicely scented candles and aphrodisiacs?
Bahog.
Who do you think set up an entire boudoir photo shoot in the bog? It's always been Stinky Jake, and it always will be."
Always been Stinky Jake.
"But why?" Slippy responds. "Why would you curse your own home to live like this? Why would—" But before Slippy can finish his question, Stinky Jake slips in close and snaps. "Do you know what it's like to be the smelliest person in town? Do you know the lowest person on the totem pole? No one ever thought of me as hot or sexy or bootylicious, and now, guess what? Well, if everyone's sexy, there can be no totem pole, no pecking order. Galactic witches have given me a gift, and they say it must always be someone that carries the burden of the curse, but I don't feel its pain. I suspect, given your request to be cursed, you also know too well what I'd describe."
Whoa.
Slippy averts his eyes and murmurs, "Well, I do, but why didn't you just shower? That seems like a much easier solve to your problem." Stinky Jake smiles and speaks. "I don't much like showering." Now, face to face, Slippy and Jake are but inches from each other. Maybe close to enough, too. You know. I'm just kidding. Unless.
That's great.
One of the witches in the back shouts, "Jake, watch out!" Stinky Jake turns and begins to respond, but before he can, the fucking cool-ass sword slips between his ribs. Immediately, the top of the tent is cast off, and a wild-ass storm starts to happen. Thunder and lightning and all sorts of shit. You know the stuff. The witches do not approach the scene, but instead begin to fade. One of them speaks, "O killer of Jake, you must now choose. Absorb all the sexy energy that is now left unguarded, or leave the people of this planet to wither. There can not be any more half measures." As thunder cracks around Slippy, he closes his eyes and breathes in. Realizing he doesn't really know what to do, he kind of just looks out in the witches and shrugs. I think I want to absorb the energy, but what do I do?" The witches look at each other and shake their heads. I don't know, just look intense and think about it, I guess. Slippy once more closes his eyes, draws breath, and thinks about all the super intimate stuff he saw on the way here. It was all pretty cool. Those folks back at the village, me oh my. They were great. Plus, the shape of this planet? God damn. It's all, Slippy whispers, kind of sexy. Just then, a pink lightning bolt strikes Slippy in the chest. The clouds above pour into him and is thrown to the ground. Looks like that scene in DBZ where Yamcha got his ass kicked and is laying in the ass-kicking pit he was thrown into.
The ass-kicking pit.
Finally, a gust of gray wind is blown out from his body, enveloping the area around him. The witches vanish from sight. Slowly but surely, Slippy rises from the ground. But it's all cool, I guess? He's on one knee, and then the camera pans around to show him in his new form. Slippy had absorbed all the sexy energy that had been burdened on the folk of this planet. He's been transformed. He now stood the new Slippy, kind of slightly more, maybe not that noticeably more attractive than before.
Whoa.
Slippy smiled, knowing what this meant, what he had done. The mission was a success. Before leaving, Slippy laid Stinky Jake to rest, buried him in the bog, and grabbed what was left of the witches, a single scroll. That afternoon, Slippy returned to the village. He was greeted at the village's gate by Philea, Crowley, and Starlet. Philea was the first to speak as she ran toward Slippy, saying, "You've done it. I don't know how, but you've done it. We returned to our original forms." Slippy looked at the three of them. Philea was just a little bit less jacked. Crowley's hair twirl was about an inch shorter, and Starlet had on a shirt that was maybe just a little bit too old and could be thrown out. Certainly still wearable, but had probably been thrown in the dryer when it should have been hung dry. Crowley spoke. "And what good news that you walked away unharmed and unchanged. We were wrong to distrust you initially. Thank you, Slippy." Slippy did not correct them or question their new form, nor did he tell them of what had transpired. Instead, he took their handshakes and their praise, found his ship, and left. Once he was back in orbit, Slippy unrolled the scroll that he found in the bog. He was met with a series of runes, and it took some time, but eventually he figured out that they corresponded with numbers. They were coordinates. Were these places that the witches had been or are going? He wasn't sure. But Slippy knew one thing. His sexy powers were only beginning to sprout. But he wasn't going home until no one could deny the vision that he himself knew he must fulfill. Slippy the Toad, the most attractive frog in the universe. The end? Question mark.
So he killed that guy?
He killed Stinky Jake.
He killed Stinky Jake?
Stinky Jake is dead in the bog.
Just out of nowhere, they're just staring at each other and he just slips the sword through him?
Slippy knew what had to be done.
Damn, Slippy's cold-blooded.
He had to take those sexy powers.
Slippy is cold-blooded. And not just because he's an amphibian.
Got him.
Anyway,
so that's Slippy the Toad.
That was great. I loved it.
Great.
That was so good. Thank you.
Great. There you go.
Mine seems so boring in comparison.
It's just different shades here.
Yours had a wizard that was playing guitar with a cool
and taking a bong rip. Maybe. It wasn't sure if he was actually playing the guitar.
You bet. You watch out. I might take that character, Chase.
I'm totally okay with you stealing Waylon the Wizard, taking bong rips.
Waylon the Wizard. That's so good. Great name.
Yeah. Wait. So those are our fan fiction stories for the end of Spooky Month. I think yours delivered on the promise of spook, for sure.
Yeah, I was trying to be more spooky.
Definitely got that. I was mostly just trying to make some nasty fanfic.
You really did make some nasty frog fanfic.
Yeah.
Nasty frogs. Nasty frogs. I honestly,
really
don't.
The most sexual creatures on the planet, they say.
Are they really? Are you sure?
I don't see why not.
I mean, that's fair, but...
Do you have any evidence to the contrary?
Do you have evidence saying so?
I got about 9 pages of fanfic that I just read.
That ain't evidence.
I don't know. It seems pretty real to me.
Don't even make me unearth all the Sonic the Hedgehog fanfic I could earth up.
That is sort of the dark implication of this whole segment, is the Sonic fanfic.
It's the implication.
Yeah.
It's out there, and it is.
So yeah, shouts out Fantasy Fiction. Go listen to them.
They're good. Make them come back.
David, we are on Twitter.
Tweet us.
Talk to us if you would like to. There, we're updating about when our episodes come out.
Oh, wow.
If you need to get reminded when they drop, a good source of information is right then and there. Let's see. If you want to support the show, a great way to do that is to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. It allows us to get the word out about Podtimism. I think that's it. This is also the last episode of Spooky Month. So for those of you who have been very much too scared, don't worry. Next week, November's episode will be significantly less spooky. Don't fear not.
Is it going to be food-based?
It's going to be a little bit food-based, maybe. Maybe there will be a fanfic about food. Just saying. Maybe.
Actually, it could be the spookiest podcast ever.
Cooking Mama fanfic. Who knows?
No, I'm talking about world events, Chase Albee.
Oh, Christ alive, yeah. Oy, please.
Only time will tell.
Only time will tell. David, do you have any gaming wisdom to take us out today?
Yeah, I got this is a twofer. Number 1, don't solve your problems by stabbing people.
Yeah.
Stinky Jake was a broken man, and he did a terrible thing.
Yeah.
But you can solve that problem with a bar of soap instead of a fucking cool sword between the ribs.
Yeah.
Although that was rad.
Although it was cool and very metal.
It was very metal.
And the sword's fray I may have been playing while I was listening to it, but still.
Find a different way.
Find a different way. This coming from the man who last week said, just keep shooting with your problems.
Just keep shooting your problems. I didn't say that, FBI.
Go back and listen
please.
to the episode. Listen to it.
It was said in jest, Chase.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Your second piece
is vote.
True. This is probably the last time we're going to be able to tell you that.
Just vote. Do whatever you think is right, whatever that may be. Honestly, it's your choice. It's your country. Just be informed and vote. And yeah, support democracy. Go do it.
The truest gaming wisdom. Because if you don't,
Stinky Jake's going to find you.
Stinky Jake's going to find you and force the gaming industry to be only games about donkey sauce.
Donkey. There's no more video games. There's only Guy Fieri's video game universe.
It is only the Fieri-verse and his donkey sauces.
Donkey sauce 1 to infinity.
My favorite Guy Fieri Marvel movie was Infinity Sauce.
Infinity sauce? What about Tex Wasabi? That's all I got. I couldn't think of a tie-in. What's a good Tex Wasabi way to make like a portmanteau with a Marvel movie?
Yeah, you're right. The approach to this problem is not easy.
It's hard. It's a hard one.
Captain Fieri Winter
Sauce.
Wasabi Soldier.
Wasabi Soldier.
Dr. Wasabi Fieri Rising. That's not the name of a Marvel movie.
Fieri Infinity Saucelet.
Okay, yeah, we're getting closer here. Iron Guy 2.
Iron Guy 2. Iron Guy 2 is pretty good.
Iron Guy 2 is the shitty knockoff put out by Momville. Momville movies.
Guy Ragnarsauce.
I could just keep going with this all day. Let's see. There's got to be another good one in there. Spider Guy, Far From Sauce.
Far from sauced.
Far from sauced. Guy Fieri has not yet begun to become sauced. I mean, I think that's it. It's like Guardians of the Galaxy and then Guy Ragnarsauce is pretty much as good as it's going to get.
Ragnarsauce is pretty good.
We'll end on Ragnarsauce.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
All right, well, see you next time in the Guyniverse.
Cool, sounds good. Guyniverse, I don't know if that's what you want to say.
See you next time in the Fieri Sphere.
That's better. That's better, I think.
Yes, okay, bye.